I was in the fetal position on the floor sobbing. No, I'm not laughing.
I am not exaggerating when I say the following. There is something deeply unsettling about the whole silent birth trend, and we must talk about it. These birth stories aren't just weird. Some are downright disturbing. Buckle up, because today, we're opening the curtains of silence, control, and manipulation like no one else is. Hey friends, welcome back to reality. Check your one-stop shop for truth bombs and eyebrow raises. Let's dive in. So, here's the kicker. We've got a guy pushing natural births as the be-all, end-all, and, get this, advocating for women to be silent during childbirth as a way of honoring God. Seriously? As someone who's endured unmedicated labor, let me tell you, silence is not an option. Try pushing a watermelon out of your body and see if you can do it without making a sound. Spoiler alert, you can't. But apparently, Robin managed to be calm, cool, and quiet during hers. Sounds miraculous? Or maybe edited? Here's where it takes a turn from weird to WTF. Robin's stepdad was front row center, by which I mean he was literally down by the bed while she was giving birth, not beside her for moral support, not holding her hand. No, he was watching. A man she barely knew, basically a stranger, inches away from the most vulnerable moment of her life. That's not normal. That's voyeuristic. Contrast that with my own experience. When I was attending a friend's birth, I gazed at her face, avoided the graphic parts, and kept out of the way. Even at my own delivery, my family didn't move in closer until the baby was crowning. No one was sitting down there like they were at a front row concert. And if you think that's the end of the awkward guy vibes, strap in. Kody, that Kody, once shouted, "I see the head," during Maddie's birth like he was announcing a football game. Totally gross. No self-awareness at all. Now let's talk about Robin's supposed silent birth. Remember Ariella's delivery? Breech birth, broken collarbone, that's brutal stuff. And yet we're supposed to believe she went through it without a peep? Come on. That's not serenity. That's selective editing. They likely cut out the screaming to sell the perfect image of the poised, gentle mama. But don't be fooled. This is the same woman who once screamed, "I don't give a shot," on camera. Saintly silence? Please. Here's the truth. This whole silent birth concept sounds like a staged act. It's a control thing. It's about appearances. It's about keeping the men, namely Kody, comfortable while women suffer in silence. That's not empowering. It's oppressive. And don't even get me started on Kody with his Oscar-worthy breakdown over a 99-degree fever. 99 degrees. That's not even medically significant. But there he was, weeping about seeing the Grim Reaper as his daughter had major surgery. By herself. Did he appear? Number? Did he care? Nope. Kody's empathy seems to be reserved for exactly 3 people: himself, Robin, and their shared kids. Everyone else? Invisible. He doesn't check in. He doesn't help. He just plays the victim card over and over. If this guy ever had to experience menstrual cramps or real labor pain, he'd fold in seconds. Hook him up to a period pain simulator. Now that's a reality show I'd watch. His idea of masculinity? It's not strength. It's emotional leeching. He's not so much alpha male, but alpha meltdown. But let's get to Robin's daughters, because this is the part that hurts the most. She still insists they're too busy to socialize, work, or live like normal young women. Busy doing what? In her mind, they're inundated with college, dinner, and bedtime. Whose bedtime, though? Their own? Or are they basically pseudo-parents to the younger kids while Robin does what, exactly? You cannot tell me that 20-somethings are mired in dinner and bedtime routines unless they are being conditioned for domestic submission. These young women do not appear to have any careers outside the family fold. They do not attend events, they do not network, and they do not appear to be liberated. Their roles? Dutiful daughters with no experience in the real world. Future baby makers. That's the path being paved for them. Let's get real. If they do marry, they'll likely end up with men from the same restrictive backgrounds. That's a recipe for another generation of dysfunction. Robin's done them no favors. It's all about whether Kody approves, not what they want or need. She's turning Kody into a prize and modeling obedience as a virtue. That's not protective parenting. That's enabling a cycle of emotional captivity. And when Robin says her daughters help with things like shipping boutique orders, attending college, and doing music, where's the growth? Where's the independence? Nothing suggests they're building real careers. They don't live in the real world. No networking, no work. Experience, no public interface. Just a tiny, suffocating world of family and television. It's not just tragic, it's tactical. Controlled environments breed controlled people, and that bedtime routine Robin keeps whining about? We'll get into that mess next time because trust me, it's a whole other can of worms. And this is where the cracks in the perfect family image get deeper. Robin is constantly claiming her younger kids require careful monitoring. But seriously, Solomon is 13 and Ariella is nearly 9. That's not toddlerhood anymore. The fact that they supposedly require help at bedtime at those ages? Bizarre, at least. Even stranger is the fact that Robin has always seemed to lean pretty heavily on outside help, from nannies to Kody himself, for parenting duties. Reports even suggested Kody was still tucking in teenagers. But now the job seems to have fallen to the older daughters, who are quietly shouldering the burden of household care while Robin is conspicuously hands-off. And why? Because they're too busy to have jobs or lives because of college, dinner, and bedtime schedules? Please. The majority of full-time students balance classes, part-time work, social lives, and hobbies. But in this household, the girls are stuck in a strange, suspended adolescence, sheltered, dependent, and isolated from normal adult experiences. Honestly, the bedtime excuse rings more like a smokescreen than a schedule. These young women are not seemingly weighed down by duty. They seem stalled. Even during the pandemic's height, the family employed a nanny, when nobody was even leaving the house. What was Robin doing all day? It is an environment of chaos and disorganization, with blurry boundaries and a virtual complete lack of autonomy for the children. It is not parenting. It is control masquerading as concern. The reality is, Robin appears more invested in keeping a fragile, codependent family dynamic intact than in raising self-sufficient adults. And Kody? He plays the role of exhausted patriarch while failing to offer emotional constancy or practical support. Together, they've built a home that doesn't thrive. It simply survives, barely held together by outdated ideas that no longer serve anyone, least of all their daughters. And that leads us to the darker truth, the side of polygamy that no one talks about. What starts out as a promise of forever love and unity all too often turns into emotional manipulation and cold favoritism. Need proof? Go back to season 16, episode 9, the blowout argument between Gabe and Kody. It's emotional whiplash to witness. Gabe, a kid desperate for his dad's approval, is attempting to find common ground, even bringing up how they can get Janelle and Christine in on it. But Kody? He loses it. He turns it into a power play, yelling about Janelle to her own son. What kind of father does that? It's heart-wrenching. Gabe is not being defiant. He is trying to reach out, and in place of love, he is met with cold aloofness. Kody's affection seems to evaporate the moment the mother falls from grace. Once romance with a wife turns sour, her children become invisible. And then Kody has the audacity to be bewildered as to why his family is falling apart. Maybe, just maybe, don't put a mother in a situation where she must decide between her child and her spouse. That should not even be a choice. The saddest part? Gabe was once the golden child, Kody's little man. He traveled, got lots of attention. But when a new family was formed, Gabe was quietly replaced. What once felt like love now looks like rejection. This isn't neglect. This is threat. As these boys grow into strong, independent men, they challenge Kody's fragile sense of control. All of a sudden, they're not sons. They're competition. And that's the issue. In polygamous families like this one, sons who outgrow obedience have a way of getting emotionally pushed to the side. Not because they've changed, but because they've grown strong enough to see through the facade. The truth is, Kody didn't just withdraw from the first wives. He emotionally left the entire structure. He gaslighted, ignored, then played victim when the women began to wake up to the manipulation. Remember that scene where he laments betrayal as the wives try to get their lives together? It's paranoid. His idea of betrayal is simply people choosing peace over him. And the most insightful moment? When he says, "I have a house," and Janelle replies, "Well, they're not welcome there." Boom. That's it. Kody identifies family with loyalty to him, but when that loyalty weakens, even for justifiable cause, he names it betrayal. Even as early as season 3, this trend was present. Gabe and Garrison got into a fight? Kody did absolutely nothing except tie a tree to a car and tell Janelle to handle it. In the meantime, Mary packed by herself, and Robin had the boys help her. The lack of balance was apparent then, and it's only become more egregious. Robin receives all the help, all the attention. Not that she requires more, but Kody gives more. Always. It's favoritism disguised as devotion. The show might have given the family a platform and a paycheck, but it gave the women clarity. It enabled them to see the truth. They married a man who was never cut out to be a polygamist, let alone a husband. And last, the most heartbreaking piece of all. Garrison is dead. In actual life, he passed away. Kody showed up for the memorial, but not for his son when it actually mattered. He had every opportunity to make things right, to show up, to love without condition, but he did not. That's not couldn't. That's wouldn't. Even now, Gabe seems willing to make things right. But Kody's affection is conditional. Terms. And if you weren't born to the favored wife, you're just not high on his list of priorities. He did not even hug his grieving son. No, he threw up COVID rules as a barricade instead. But that is not about safety. That is classic narcissism. Anything that threatens the image, the comfort, the ego, he shuts down, refuses. Kody not only dodges responsibility, he flees from it like the plague and then plays the victim when everything caves in on him. By now, he's not just a horrible boyfriend or no-show dad. He's the fallen anti-hero of his own story. Self-deceived, narcissistic, and blissfully ignorant of the devastation he leaves behind. And we, the audience, get to ride shotgun during the implosion. You think you've ever seen sloth? Enter Robin, the never-doing wife who always insists that everyone else do the work. In some way or another, there is always a new valid reason. A backache, unexpected illness, or emotional exhaustion. When Janelle was training for a 5K, Robin couldn't participate due to back pain. When the wives were booked for therapy with Noodlehead, Robin didn't show up, citing she wasn't feeling well. And when it was packing time and moving, she was always conveniently unprepared. While the other wives shoveled years of their lives, Robin lingered like a manager expecting someone else to do it. She even confessed she should have gone to one of her older children and asked them to help her get ready for her own wedding. Sounds less like a religious commitment to plural marriage, and more like she joined a full-time staff. Kody, too, acts the same way, always directing, never actually doing. When they attempted to make a move, he coaxed the children into joining in by explaining that it was a family meeting. Then, surprise, after they saw Robin's cluttered mess of a house, decorations still on the walls and pantry packed to the brim, the rest of the family left. No surprise. The rest of the family had already done the dirty work. Even with 3 older children and a nanny, Robin still relied on others to pick up after her. She scrambles the minimum bare, party here, dinner there, and expects the kind of attention Christine or Mary received through years of sweat equity. When the spotlight moves away from her, Robin is able to bring it back. An illness, a new crisis. But ultimately, it's not laziness. It's a masterful performing of helplessness in order to keep the spotlight on her and avoid responsibility. And Kody? No better. They're a duo who thrive on adoration, but recoil at responsibility. They wreak havoc and expect the OG wives to clean up the mess. Robin's most consistent trait? Insisting on queen-level treatment with no queen-level effort. And then there's Kody's emotional combat. His insults. They're not just mean, they're specific. Deliberately meant to be hurtful, skillfully targeted to hit the most sensitive spot, emotionally and financially. Janelle summed it up best in the More to Love extra footage. Kody knows just how to equip vulnerability. With Christine, he destroyed her self-esteem, mocking the way she appeared. Then, in perhaps the show's most chilling moment, he said to her, "I never loved you and was never attracted to you." Cold-blooded and completely unnecessary. With Janelle, who is always self-sufficient and money-conscious, he turned the tables, blaming her for getting them in debt, even though she was the one that kept the household solvent using spreadsheets and budgets. Ironically, Mary, who was legally abandoned by Kody to the point that even the courts acknowledged it, is suddenly being paid attention to this season. More camera time with her than all the previous 9 seasons put together. Why? Manipulation. Good old-fashioned emotional chess, where Kody manipulates individuals around him to meet his ego's demands. Because when others expose their vulnerabilities to Kody, he warehouses them like bullets. A good partner would never use those against him in an argument. But Kody? He shoots from the gut, over and over again. Let's not forget his flip-floppy about attraction. He said once that he wasn't attracted to Christine because she was chubby when they first met, but then claims to be attracted to plus-sized women. So, what is it going to be? The truth is, Kody likes women who validate him. The moment they express criticism or assert independence, he's done. Janelle, ironically, might be the one he was most attracted to. Why? Because she was compliant, warm, loving, and never once challenged his authority. He equates sexual chemistry with control, and the more self-conscious a woman is, the less trouble he has controlling her. He claimed he didn't care about any wife except Robin, yet continues to pretend to be broken-hearted. The hypocrisy is staggering. And with Janelle? His cruelty slashes all the deeper. He assaults her children, her vulnerable point. He doesn't neglect them. He beats them up, emotionally isolates them, and then wonders why Janelle leaps to their defense. He tries to destroy her through them because she won't be destroyed in and of herself. All right, production glossed over Janelle as the calm money planner. Don't be deceived. She's also the mama bear of them all, toughest of them all. And Kody's nastiest move has always been attacking that bond, because it's the one thing he can't control. Kody acts as if these kids don't even belong to him. His language is chosen deliberately, not for honesty, but for maximum emotional damage. Like when he criticizes Mary's loyalty. Not merely passive-aggressive, but manipulative. And viewers who've seen the More to Love bonus clips on Hulu or Philo know exactly what I mean. This show is now a broken mess. The 5 adults no longer communicate with one another. Janelle and Christine, they're most likely still close, but their lives have clearly diverged in opposite directions. Mary's checked out completely. She's now living down in southern Utah and doesn't care to mingle with Kody or the wives. And then there's Robin. She becomes increasingly uncomfortable with the cameras being on her. Probably because she's finally receiving the criticism she's had coming. Her actions, her choices, her statements, they don't paint the victim. They paint a person who gained through a broken system and now begrudges the spotlight that comes with it. Let's not fool ourselves. The tension audience members feel when Kody's on camera, that's not bad editing. That's real energy. It's watching a man who wrecked his own family and still can't admit to it. Mary requires peace. Mary requires distance from this garbage. The show at this point only delays the inevitable. Mary moving on. And honestly, we're not here for another rehashed Christine and David saga. What we desire now is the future, Janelle's next chapter, Christine's independence, and if Mary will once and for all slam that door shut. Kody's recent behavior seems intentional. It's as if he's trying to make the public hate the original wives. And if you look at the timeline, it's clear. He loved them, or claimed to, before Robin. After that, he began dismantling them one by one. His manipulation wasn't limited to the wives, but also to the children. He's constructed a home on inequality and emotional manipulation. And Mary? She was probably challenging at times, but don't forget why. Kody constructed a situation where she was alone, where the only method of remaining attached was to struggle for glimpses of affection. He afterward employed her so-called challenging personality as an excuse, an effortless apologist for years of abandonment. And worse yet, Mary was the favorite prior to Robin. That favoritism created years of strain, and Kody never stepped in to fix it. He fanned those flames. Even Janelle references this dynamic within the book they all co-authored at the start of the series. On bonus material, even Janelle says it out loud. Kody targeted the OG wives to position himself and Robin as victims from day one. Mary has a right to call Kody out on his mixed signals. Occasionally, however, you want to just have her call his bluff rather than be roped in again. She needs to stand her ground. Remember when Robin kept Mary from seeing the kids? The look of shock when Mary chose to leave? It was pretense. Because Kody had already stated, on camera, that he wouldn't mind if Mary left. What his actions demonstrate is the truth. He's playing with her feelings, not developing a relationship. Kody instructs Mary to woo him, and then adds that there is no chance at reconciliation. That's lesson 101 in emotional manipulation. And then there's Janelle. She shoots him down with ease. She knows how valuable she is. She knows it's not about begging for respect. And many of us tuning in wish Mary would draw from that same strength. Quit trying to win him back. He's not worth it. And let's be real. If Robin was ever an ex-wife, Kody would sell her out just as he did with the others. He doesn't care about anyone, only himself. This season, we're seeing Kody spend more time with Mary than he has in 9 whole seasons. Not because he suddenly cares, but because she's the only one still willing to film with him. His scenes with Robin and a couple of kids aren't enough to sustain the show. And that's the brutal truth. You can watch the More to Love footage on Hulu or Philo, and quite frankly, it fills in the gaps that regular episodes leave out. Kody's manipulations, Robin's disappearance act, the emotional wreckage left behind, it's all there. Sound off in the comments. Is Kody salvageable now, or are we just watching a slow-motion collapse? Don't forget to like this video if you've got something to think about here, and subscribe so you don't miss the next plunge. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay smart, and as always, much love to all of you.